In a highest Mahurokotes, then God is good. In the Shilabo the Lord Senemakato, God is kind. In the Shimichi Kupwa Hihinafashino Kotosi, God is love. In the Mehina Harakarato Sehino, and God is all that there is. When the children of God traveled to earth, God brought them in the way that they would speak in the sacred tongues of God. And the children of God spoke only in the sacred tongues of God. For in the sacred tongues, they knew the divine wisdom of God, and they were able to know the way in which all things work according to the divine order, so that in coming to earth, the children were able to know the ways of earth and to reconstruct earth according to the design that God had given that they design earth. And they designed earth so that it may become a paradise. For they came from a land of plenty. They came from a land of beauty. They came from a land that was strong in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And they came from a land in which they were able to know the sacred and divine mysteries of creation. And so the children brought with them all that which was to give them the way to transform this valley. For earth was a dark valley. It was dark because God cast his curse upon earth, and then God sent the many who were cursed from the upper worlds to dwell on earth. And God cast them in the darkness because God wanted them to recognize that without light they could see and know nothing. For where they came from, there was always light. And when the children of God came, the sun followed the children of God to earth, and it is the sunlight that caused earth to be full of light. And wherever the children moved around the earth, the sunlight followed them. So the motion and movement of the sun reflects that which was in the beginning, that the sun illuminated the darkness of earth, followed the children everywhere they went to transform earth, and showed everyone that dwelled in darkness on earth that the children of God were the true light bearers of earth. The children of your God did not remember any of these things because they violated the sacred oath they made unto your God. And the oath that they made unto your God that was called Zion is the oath in which they declared before your father and mother God that they would honor, praise, and glorify God in the way in which they were given to accept to do only that which God had given unto them. When the children of your God kept not the oath with your God, your father and your mother God took away from them that which was in the divine that they brought from the sun, and they were no longer able to exercise the greatness that was given into them, not to perform the marvelous works that they had done. And when the tribes of earth knew that the children were no longer great and mighty, they turned against them. And your father and your mother God told the children, in all the ways in which they were given the injunctions of God not to do what they were not given to do, that they would walk in long suffering upon earth. And so the children of God do not know why they have suffered so long, neither do they know why it is they found themselves in captivity to the tribes of earth. And the children did not know that in all the ways that they were full of deceit, they would always find themselves deceived by deceivers. The children of God must know, they must know that when your God told them they are not of you, that God was telling them they carry nothing of the divine in them, for they were always deceivers and liars. And every way that God sent the children to live among them, God showed the children nothing good can come out of evil. No good can come forth from evildoers. And the children have always allowed themselves to be deceived by what they found, because the children of God did not listen. And because they did not listen, God made them to feel the pain that God told them would come in the suffering that would be given to them. They've always said, why would our God give this to us? And God said that we didn't give it to you, you give it to yourselves. You went against what God told you. You paid the price for disobedience. For every man that listened to God, heard God said, you will reap what you sow. Whatever you do, it will return to you. And no one understood that God was always true to every word that came forth from God to man. There is a way back to God. There is a way back to greatness. And the way back to God and the way back to greatness is from the heart of God within the heart of man. We have said unto you that man walketh in the way of his head, and did not find the way to the heart of God in his own heart. And every way that man works from his head and not from his heart, he brings forth nothing but deceit and lies that lead to falsehoods and to destruction. In every age that man lived, God showed man what his head brought forth to the world. And man did not understand that his head is always a deceiver unto him. For nothing that came from the head of man carried the truth. And man is full of lies and evil. And man is always showing man that he works not for the upliftment of man, but for the destruction of man. Because the head is the way of Hades. The head is the way of Hades. It is the way to death and destruction. We taught our children to work from the heart because the heart carries within it that which is the love and goodness of the mother and father, creator gods. And when you work from your heart, you work from the continuity of God's love and goodness in you that pervades in the way of the divine order of God. And that is why God taught you to tell the children that it is more blessed to give. For the heart that gives is the heart that finds the way to love and do good. And the children forgot everything. For we showed them all these things that you find here. All these things are nothing compared with what awaits you back in your own homelands on the sun. For God sent them to teach others how to give, so that in learning how to give, they may come to recognize that there are greater gifts of God that are hidden from man, in the same way as there is a parallel world that is hidden and always controls the seen world. And so the many of this world don't understand what was told them. In the same way that your seen self is always under the control of your unseen self, so is this seen world under the control of the unseen world. I said it doesn't register with anyone. It doesn't register with anyone. Then all men said, I have a spirit. And the spirit returns to God when the flesh goes beneath the ground. Where to does the spirit go? Where to does the spirit go? You must tell our children the things that they need to know, that they do not know. When the spirit has performed its purpose in the physical body of man, it returns back to the parallel unseen world. It is there that it is tutored in the things that it could not have known while it was in this valley of death. And God sends those that are then edified in the ways that they had not known to return as guides to those children who God sends them to. So, what the children term as their ancestors are really those who have returned in the spirit form to show them the way that they cannot know because they are surrounded by a veil of darkness in the physical world. All these things God says they didn't know. And then there are those that your God does not give to return here. God gives them a different set of duties to perform. And God sends some of them in the many lands where God is going to war against the many heathens, the Hebrews and the Gentiles, for they become the unseen armies of God. And in every way, God has said to the many tribes, whatever you have done to our children, so will it be done unto you. So shall they then work in the Spirit. And God says unto you, they shall tear their flesh from limb to limb, and man will see man torn apart without the hands of man. And that is the way the children of God, as the armies of God, will work in the Armageddon of God. So the children must know why God told them, let vengeance be ours to give. And God told all the tribes of earth, the time will come when you will pay for the things you have done to the children of light. And that time has come. It has come. And so they too will see things that would alarm them, and you must tell them, those are our people who have returned in the superior form of spirit. And when physical man cannot see that which is unseen, he cannot war with what he cannot see. And so God is wise. God is wise. God is a wise God. For God knows all the ways in which the revenge of God would be taken, and to show every man why God told them, if you think it was by your might and your power, and all these things that you have constructed in the most destructive form, then use them to war against what you cannot see. The head has always misled man, and the head has always been a deceiver to man. And men deceived in their heads and were deceived by their heads, and know not how. And so we always give you to teach, to preach, and to edify the children of God in the way of the truth. For the children of our God is lost in all the ways that they have gone and all the things that they have done. And they never knew the greatness that they had in the powers that were given to them from the wisdom they brought from the land of the sun. God gave it always that the wisdom of God be given bit by bit by bit, that those who listen and hear may come to know the ways that they are the children of light, they are the true Israelites on earth. They are the true sons and daughters of the eternal and everlasting God. Sinti Shukutuma Hede God. In Shirikadondo Sikidantotum God. Lift the veil from the children. Let them see with different eyes. Let them reason with their hearts, so that in all the ways that they are led in the path of righteousness, let them be led not from their heads, but from the divine heart that is of you, that is in their own hearts.